The Planet X system can be considered a mini-constellation consisting of our Sun's twin, classified a brown dwarf star.
Good afternoon. My name is Dwayne Brown with the Office of Communications, and welcome to NASA headquarters. Today, NASA reveals near-Earth asteroid findings from the agency's Near-Earth Object Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, in short, NEOWISE. Today's information and graphics can be obtained on the web at www.nasa.gov/wise.
Scientists continue to find things in the solar system, bodies in orbit around the sun, and objects that are close to our backyard in the near-Earth space, right here, close to home. Can I have the first slide here? Through a dance of gravity and solar system dynamics, bodies have found their way into collision course with the Earth.
Thanks, Lucy, for summing this all up. And just to pull it all together for what we've learned today from the NEOWISE project so far, and this has substantially reduced the risk of an impact that is not warned. In other words, we know now where most of them are and where most of them are going. That really has reduced our risk of an unwarned impact from a really big one. And we believe that the hazard to the Earth may be somewhat less.
Start phone lines now. First up is Alan Boyle with MSNBC. Alan?
Thank you. I realize you're focusing on near-Earth asteroids today, but there's been so much talk about the potential for finding a Planet X or some sort of large body through the WISE survey. Can you comment on any status on that sort of search, or maybe even reassure people that Planet X isn't coming to get them next year?
Yes, this is Amy Meinzer. I'm happy to answer this one. Planet X is not coming to get us. But we are looking to see if there are any other bodies in the outer part of the solar system with the WISE data. This is a very natural project for WISE. And so we're still working on it right now. We've obviously just returned a huge amount of data from the telescope that's going to take us a long time to sort through. But the initial results are very promising. You may have seen earlier results where we've discovered a new class of very cool type of stars with WISE. But the search is still on, and we don't think that there's anything that's hazardous in the outer solar system. We think that this is just a sort of if there is something out there, it would be a large body in a roughly circular orbit.
So when you say the initial results are very promising, the initial results are very promising. Anything else you wanted to say on that point?
We've actually been able to confirm the discovery of 100 new objects that are these very cool stars called brown dwarfs. And so that's very similar to what people are interested in looking for. So we've actually found some of these that are relatively close to the Earth, but none of these are closer at this point than the nearest star to our solar system. So it's a good start, though.
Thank you.
The effects of such a large celestial body as Nibiru, Planet X, estimated to be from 4 to 8 times the size of the Earth, re-entering our solar system, will push the reset button for another axis tilt, likely causing yet another mass extinction and radically altering global climate zones. In addition to tilting the Earth's axis, it's speculated that Nibiru's gravitational upset and electromagnetic fireworks on our planet with regard to climate change, Earth changes, atmospheric disturbances, and weather-related disasters. In October 2003, a highly significant and telling Department of Defense-sponsored government paper was published called An Abrupt Climate Change Scenario and Its Implications for United States National Security.
Do you think it's in our solar system right now?
Yes, without a doubt. Kepler's laws of planetary motion, and with our present knowledge of the model that the Chinese astronomers and the Korean and the Japanese astronomers gave us, it would take 16 years to reach the Earth if it was at the orbit of Neptune. It would take 16 years to reach us.
So we found this object, and we found it at a distance of 29 AU from the sun in our first images. So that is roughly Neptune's distance, Neptune is at 30 AU, so it was found at a pretty far distance, and as far as we know, it's one of the farthest, if not the furthest, comet ever found. While we took the DES images, it moved from 29 to 23 AU, which shows that it's moving a lot more than the sorts of things we expect to find. So that was the first thing that drew our attention to this object, and we realized that we were seeing something very interesting. The other thing that is remarkable about this object is that it's pretty big for the standards of comets. It has a diameter of between 100 to 200 kilometers. It depends on what you assume that its surface composition is. And this is big. Most comets have 10 kilometers, tens of kilometers, not 100. So I've seen claims online, and I think they're correct, that this is the largest comet found in the telescope era. So in other words, we found something really, really big. In our images, we tried to see whether this object had activity. In other words, we tried to see if it was just consistent with a rock or an icy rock or something like that, or if it actually had this cloud of dust and particles around it that comets tend to form. And we realized that it didn't. So in other words, this is a really, really big comet. And we're certain now that it is a comet.
That's incredible. And of course, as you mentioned, the tails are the distinctive feature of comets, as you can see in Yakutaki pictured behind me. But be a comet, objects are either white, yellow, or green, not red.
This dark star is largely invisible, even with infrared, due to its surrounding red iron oxide dust clouds.
So, in case you haven't heard, the discovery of the biggest comet ever was announced in June of 2021. It's predicted to be closest to Earth sometime in the year 2031. Even though its discovery was publicly announced in 2021, the actual discovery date of this comet is 2014. And there are a lot of things about it that just don't really add up, which we'll get into here in just a second. But check this out. This is a United Nations Planetary Defense Team Project's final report and its recommendations to the United Nations for the roadmap for Earth's planetary defense initiatives. And man, check out the coincidences with this thing, the fictional future scenario that this thing has in it, and it sets up here, and the actual real scenario of this new comet Bernardinelli Bernstein. So this starts off with a fictional future scenario for the year 2030, when the astronomer has spotted a comet that enters our solar system and is on a trajectory for an Earth impact sometime in the year 2030. And if you go through, it's got the timelines here lined out, the deflection phase you see right there. Here it's got a trajectory deal, which looks an awful lot. I mean, maybe it's just the colors and not really the actual comet trajectory here, but man, it looks a lot like it. And you see there, deflection phase 2, January 2031. See, now I think it's January 2031 is when Bernardinelli Bernstein is supposed to hit. So tell me that's not just a coincidence. And then when you look at this here, you'll notice as it goes down through here, it actually gives two outcomes for this future fictional scenario. One with us preparing and caring about planetary defense, and the other one us not, and how, if we care, we're going to make it through. If we don't, we're probably going to die. I'll leave the link to this in the description or in the pinned comment, but man, this is pretty weird. It talks about 2022 just a second ago, and how an asteroid was detected then, increased our invulnerability. Man, I mean, it looks as if this fiction report is a real report that was based off of something that they supposedly didn't know about then, but maybe they did, because the comet Bernardinelli Bernstein was actually discovered in 2014. This report's written in 2015. It just seems like they're tied together. You look at here at the end, even they've got, let's see, it says discussions, recommendations. We got detection and tracking. I think they even mentioned the dark energy survey, which was what was found. DES. Let's see, something adequate TRL for DES, which DES is dark energy survey. And actually, the team here, I think, is even partners with the dark energy survey people, so that's tied definitely. You get into the global collaboration here, and how, if you read some of this, is kind of freaky here, that they want to create a new normal called the responsibility to defend Earth, and they also believe in the creation of a new global governance body. Yeah, man, it's all just ties in, and it's all too creepy. I did a full video on kind of a compilation of things along with the Bernardinelli interviews, so it's pretty crazy. But yeah, this report from 2015, can you believe all the things in there that just seem to tie right in? Crazy.
Scientists say it may be a new planet on the edge of our solar system. It's called Tiki, named for an ancient Greek goddess. If it's real, Tiki's a supergiant, 4 times the size of Jupiter, made of hydrogen and helium. Scientists from the University of Louisiana say it hasn't been found because it's so far away, 15,000 times farther from the sun than Earth.
There's a huge, hidden, heavenly body right here in our solar system. Evidence is mounting that either a brown dwarf star or a gas giant planet is lurking at the outermost reaches of our solar system, far beyond the planet Pluto. According to the British newspaper The Independent, the object is 4 times the size of Jupiter. Experts say the presence of such a massive object could explain why a barrage of comets has been coming from that direction.
It's been almost 10 years since little Pluto was demoted from being a planet, but today scientists from the California Institute of Technology have announced that they finally have solid evidence for a Planet X, a true 9th planet on the edge of our solar system.
It is believed to be far beyond the orbit of Pluto, roughly the size of Neptune, with a mass 10 times that of Earth.
There are things out there, little icy objects that are orbiting in a funny way, and nobody was quite sure why. It seemed like there might be something with gravity pulling on them, but nobody quite understood. And finally, these scientists that you talked about took a really hard look at it, did simulations, calculations, and they came up with the explanation. It probably is this giant planet.
I think I read somewhere it orbits the sun every 10,000 to 20,000 years.
Right.
Is that why no one has seen it to this point?
No, that's not why. It's because it's so dim. It's so far away that even though it's big, it's very, very dim, and it'd be very tough to spot with a telescope.
I'm also fascinated at the idea that this planet could be so far out there and still our sun be the mass that is keeping it in the gravitational pull of our solar system.
Right, yeah, but no, it's true.
That's incredible. And so there was a thought at one point from scientists that when they thought that there was something beyond Pluto, that it might have been all the massive objects floating in the Kuiper Belt, but it's not.
Right, so all those objects are out there and they have a lot of mass, and originally the scientists said, look, a planet is such a crazy idea, maybe it's the Kuiper Belt itself that's pulling it on itself and making these orbits look funny.
And when we talk about the mass of this Planet X, this 9th planet, being 10 times that of Earth, for those who are not scientists, what does that really mean, the mass of a planet versus Earth's mass?
Well, if you could put it on a scale, how much it would weigh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really it. And so it's bigger, it's bulkier, it's got more heft, it's got more gravity. It's this huge elephant in the living room, except we didn't know it was there.
You mentioned that scientists haven't seen it yet because of how far away it is and how dim it is. Is there a way for them to get visual evidence?
Yes, so the biggest telescopes in the world can theoretically see this thing if they're looking in exactly the right place. And with the publication of this new paper today, they are now going to start to look in earnest.
How much further out there is this planet X than the rest of the planets in the solar system? I mean,
so Pluto we think of as the really out at the very edge, the very farthest thing that you could call a planet, even though we don't anymore. And
I'm still supporting Pluto's right to be a planet.
But this thing is 5 times further out than Pluto.
Fascinating. Is there any chance it's not a planet?
No, there's always. It's very foolish to say no chance because you just don't know what you don't know. But the odds are looking very, very good.
60 billion miles from the sun.
Yep.
Amazing stuff. Michael Lemonick, thank you so much. Fascinating stuff.
Great, thanks.
A mystery on the edge of the solar system. Astronomers finding evidence of what could be another planet, nicknamed Planet 9. Former astronaut and senior advisor at the Intrepid Museum here in New York, Mike Massimino, here to tell us more about this. Good day to you. You've been up there a couple times.
Yeah, but not that far.
Yeah, this is way out there, right?
Way out
How
there,
far is it?
Well, they're approximating now because they haven't gotten a telescope to actually see it, right? But there's evidence that it's out there.
How far?
So to give you an idea, Pluto is about 4.6 billion miles away. This is between 20 billion, at least 20 billion, they think, to maybe 100 billion
Oh my God!
miles away.
That's a road trip.
Far.
Wait, you said they haven't seen it yet?
No. So what they did is they've been studying that area of the sky, and there's about 6 objects, apparently, about a half dozen objects that seem to be, their orbit seem to be influenced by a large object out there. So they're looking at that evidence. In other words, they see how these things are behaving, and they are pretty convinced that there's a big object out there, a planet that's orbiting around our sun, part of our solar system, therefore, that is causing this behavior out there.
And much bigger than Earth.
Probably. They're not really sure exactly the size of it. Again, what they're looking at is gravitational attraction. And so it could have a very more of a massive core and a bit of an atmosphere, or maybe less so. It could be more gaseous, maybe the size even as big as Neptune, but somewhere probably at least as big as Earth, probably larger.
You know, I'm reading it may take 10 to 20,000 years to orbit the sun. I mean, that is one long nasty winter.
Yeah, so the closer you are, the quicker you go, the further on you are.
Right.
Yeah,
but
so
as an astronaut,
that's a nasty winter.
How significant do you think this could be?
As far as like sending people there?
No, just, I mean, what's the impact? I mean, look, when Pluto was demoted, I was ticked off.
Right, so was I, actually. Because we grew up with Pluto, and I was saying it's no longer a planet. So this would be the Pluto replacement. Now, I think it's very interesting because it shows that, we think we know what's out there. And we kind of do, but we get new information where it increases our understanding. So you never really know everything when it comes to the construct of our universe, even our solar system. I mean, relatively, even though it's 20 billion miles away, is a long way. It's in our neighborhood, all right? So now, and we're just finding out what's in our neighborhood still. Imagine what else is out there beyond. So,
and you've been there.
That's why I think it's significant.
If true, 150 years since we've identified one. We'll wait for the solid evidence.
This could be really big, but I think that now the search is on, the chase is on, see who the winner is going to be, to actually get a telescope on it so we can get a real image. This is a fake image that you see there. On your graphic.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. See you soon.
We have a really big neighborhood.
Pluto, the sometimes planet, may be hiding a pretty huge secret. Well, 2 huge secrets, actually. Astronomers in Spain believe that hiding behind Pluto, obscured from our view, are 2 additional giant planets. Spanish scientists in Madrid discovered the potential for the 2 massive celestial bodies at the outer reaches of our solar system after studying strange patterns in the orbit of rocky objects around Pluto, including the newly discovered dwarf planet 2012 VP113. Scientists believe the first hidden world would be about 10 times the mass of Earth. They believe that this planet is moving in resonance with a bigger planet that is somewhere between Mars and Jupiter in size and would orbit 200 times the Earth's distance from the Sun. But can we ever conclusively confirm the existence of these 2 planets? Well, Scott Shepard at the Carnegie Institution for Science had this to say. As there are only a few of these extremely distant objects known, it's hard to say anything definitive about the number or location of any distant planets. However, in the near future, we should have more objects to work with to help us determine the structure of the outer solar system. So there you have it, time will tell.
Hi, I'm Jim Green, Director of Planetary Science at NASA. You know, NASA works with the international science community to explore our solar system and beyond. We look to unravel the mysteries that intrigue us all as we explore and answer the big questions. Questions like, how did the solar system begin and evolve? And what will be its destiny? What will be our destiny? Last July 14th, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew past Pluto, capping a half-century of exploration of our solar system. It piqued our interest about what lies beyond Pluto and what can we learn about ourselves and the origins of our solar system. The idea of a new planet is certainly an exciting one for me as a planetary scientist, and I think for all of us. The January 20th paper in the Astronomical Journal is fueling our interest in planetary exploration and stimulating a healthy debate that's part of the scientific process. I couldn't be more pleased about what's happening. You know, it's all about starting the process that could lead to an exciting result. It is not, however, the detection of a new planet. It's too early to say with certainty that there's a so-called Planet X out there. What we're really seeing is an early prediction based on modeling from limited observations. What's exciting is that, like NASA's journey to Mars or New Horizons flyby of Pluto, you will have a front row seat to see how the scientific process unfolds. Theories like this serve to stimulate ideas and conversation. They tap into our innate curiosity. It's important for us to continue to work, and we will. Anytime we have an interesting idea like this, we always apply Carl Sagan's rules for critical thinking, which include independent confirmation of the facts, looking for alternate explanations, and encouraging scientific debate. If Planet X is out there, we'll find it together. Or we'll determine an alternate explanation for the data that we've received so far.
NASA recently participated in a FEMA exercise called Eagle Horizon that was a part of a continuity of operations and government exercise that we do annually. And I became aware of some things that concern me about our family preparedness, and I wanted to talk to you very briefly. You know, we in NASA, we're an incredibly unique organization. We're the only agency in the federal government that's responsible for the safety and well-being of people not only here on Earth, but off this planet. So my experience in the astronaut office, my experience as an active duty Marine, always talked about the importance of family preparedness and to make sure that we had a viable family support program. And I have concerns that ours right now is not as good as it ought to be. Think about the natural disasters that could occur in your area. Think about attacks that could come like 9/11 from outside forces, and talk to your family about your work and what they need to do to prepare for the unforeseen. Develop a family preparedness plan in your house. Have an emergency supply kit available. Think about a family communications plan. Where are we going to meet if an emergency occurs and we're all over town? What are we going to do? Are we going to call each other on the cell phone? Just think about those things. The most important asset for us to successfully complete our mission is that our people, our families mainly, are taken care of so that we can come to work and feel good that if an emergency arises, our families are going to be taken care of. So I would ask you again, sit with your families, think about what you would do in an emergency situation. I hope that you'll embrace and support the Family Preparedness Program as we all get better prepared to deal with these emergencies. Know your stuff. You know what it is that you're going to do, know what it is that you want your family to do if an emergency arises. But most of all, be prepared.
Did any of you see that Netflix film called Don't Look Up? This fictional tale of an asteroid that's coming and the astrophysicists warn society and no one believes them? Everything I know about social media, politics, how people interact with science and all the deniers out there, everything I know about that tells me that movie was instead a documentary.
You've got 8 years to prepare for an extinction level event.